What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Hopefully you guys are having a good day. We are right back at it in the garage, guys. And for today we have finally, I'm sure he's happy, Pedro's car. So we're gonna be working on this bad boy today. The head for this car is still at the machine shop with the whole coronavirus thing going on. It's pretty much affecting everything, but that head is still in the machine shop. And to finish that one, if you guys saw in the last video, that's the last car that I worked on. He actually ordered some no-tick lifters, and those are on its way, so we're waiting on that. But today we're gonna go ahead and get started on Pedro's car. On this one, guys, I kind of wanted to show you guys more of a step-by-step on how to remove the engine, so this video might be a little long. A ton of questions and questions on Instagram, like, hey bro, like, you know, can you do like a video of you pulling out the engine, or of show us how to do the actual water pump and all that stuff. So there's like, you guys been asking me like you know, questions like how to do this, how to do that, or can you show a little bit more of how you do it? Because usually when I do it, you know, just to not make the video so long, I just hop into it and then I'll show you guys like where I'm at, the next step. But this time I'm gonna, with this car, I'm gonna show you guys a little bit more of a step-by-step on what you have to remove, what you have to unplug when you're taking all those things off. So yeah, guys, let's go ahead and get it and let's get started. Alrighty, guys, so the first thing that I always do when I start working on a car is I pull off the battery. So take out your battery just to make sure that when you get into all the other things like removing the harness off the plugs off the alternator or off the starter, you don't accidentally, you know, touch the positive with the ground and then you make a big old spark or whatever. So I always pull off the battery first thing. Next thing I do is take off my radiator cap, because I can release any pressure from the coolant system. And I go ahead and I start draining all my fluids. So I'm gonna go ahead and start draining the water or the coolant, and then I'm gonna go ahead and drain the transmission fluid, and then the oil I'll probably leave it in there until the motor is out. But I'm gonna go ahead and drain the transmission fluid, the transfer case fluid, and the coolant. So those are the first three things that I do when I start. Alrighty, so I just drained out the water, the coolant from the radiator. It's always gonna have something looking like this. It's either gonna be on the driver's side, it might be on the passenger side, and it might be on the bottom, or it also might be up here somewhere. So it just depends on the radiator, but on this one, in this case, it has it down here. So pretty much what you have to do is just unscrew that and take off the radiator cap, and then everything will come out from there. So I have that done already, so that's, the radiator is empty. And then next we'll move on to drain out the transfer case and then the transmission, and I'll show you guys that as well in a bit. Alrighty, guys, moving on. Next thing is we're gonna go ahead and drain out the transmission fluid. The drain plug for the transmission is on the passenger side, obviously, because on the right side you have the motor, so you can't get this wrong. So I already did break this loose. Looks like it's still a little tight. I went ahead and used the 1-inch socket, and pretty much so I did break these loose before I started. So there's your transmission one, and then the transfer case one is right there towards the back, because you have two. You have a drain, a fill plug, and then you have a drain plug. So this is your drain plug, and then your fill plug is up here. In the transmission, it's the same. That is going to be your drain, and then your fill plug is up here. So yeah, guys, that's what I'm doing next. You know, I like to drain all the fluids before I get started on top, so then I don't have to worry about this. So I'm gonna go ahead and let that completely drain, and then we'll go ahead and do the transfer case. Meanwhile, I have those fluids draining. You can go ahead and start removing your intake. You can start removing the charge piping, so anything that's in your way to get to the harness, so you can remove everything. You can go ahead and start taking that off. For instance, I'm gonna go ahead and start with the intake. So just a Phillips screwdriver. In most cases, if it's an aftermarket clamp, it will use a flathead, or you know, it just depends on the clamp. So once I have that loose, I can go ahead and unplug the MAF, but also this one's in the way, so you can go ahead and take it off. From, if you have a recirculated blow-off valve, you will have this looking thing, which most of them honestly don't have that recirculated blow-off valve. And then you're also going to have one more hose back here that comes from the emissions canister, and then you can go ahead and unplug that, and then you're good. Oh, you have a little vacuum down here for the little solenoid that's down there. But hey guys, that's out, and then you keep moving. Alrighty guys, next, if you have a side mount, you're gonna have this stock pipe, but if you don't, it's usually gonna run through here and down there somewhere. But so for this, I already pretty much unscrewed all the clamps, just so I'm not doing it while I'm recording. But pretty much just make sure you unhook your vacuum line for the blow-off valve, and then I did move the fuse box out of the way as well. And then just go ahead and pull this pipe out. Pretty much it's gonna be a couple of clamps, nothing crazy, and then boom, you have that. Also for the radiator, pull off your radiator. I just unhooked these two lines, which is the top line, and then you're gonna go ahead and do the bottom line. Also, two clamps, flatheads. Once you have those two off the radiator, you can go ahead and unplug your fans. Your fan plug is going to be somewhere over here. They're all not going to be at the spot that I'm saying, guys, so just make sure you pay, you know, some are probably wired in differently and don't have a stock plug, so it all is going to vary. But for the most part, the ones that I worked on do have the stock plug. So go ahead and unplug, you know, your stock plugs. Here's the other one for this side, and then all I have to do next is remove these 12mm bolts. There's a bracket on the right side and a bracket on the left side, so go ahead and move those, and once you have those off, the radiator is ready to come out. Alrighty, so the radiator is out, and I'm also removed the bottom part of the charge piping, which just went from here to here, also with just two clamps. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started on the harness, everything that's in my way. So for instance, we're gonna remove every single plug that's on the motor itself, so like that, you know, the TPS, the injectors, and I'll go ahead and start removing all that. Pretty much what I need to do is just remove anything that's holding the motor back from, so when I pull it out, you know, none of that gets it's in the way or gets pulled on or anything. So that's what I'm doing here next. Alrighty guys, so as you guys can see, this is pretty much most of the harness. It's pretty much for your injectors, for your coil plugs, for the AC compressor, for all that stuff, for the cam sensor. So pretty much just pull off all that. I always pull it off, and I just pull it off to the side. What I'm going to be doing next is removing the shifter cables. So shifter cables, they always have like a little pin. You remove that little pin, and once you remove that little pin, they have a bracket back here that I'll show you guys how to pull off right now in a second. Alrighty guys, so here are your shifter cables. Like I said, they had a little pin going through there. Once you pop out the little pin, this thing will slide out. Same for this one. And then once you have this little bracket back here that I already pulled off with the screw flathead. So these pretty much go, you know, in there, and then they go clip down. Whoops. And you have two of them. So go ahead and these sometimes they're a pain in the butt, but if you struggle a lot, I usually grab the end of a hammer and then I pry it up, and then they end up coming up. Or if not, today these were easy, so just with the flathead, and they pop out. So So once you have that, just go ahead and scoot these bad boys out, and then you're good. Set them off to the side as well. Okay, guys, so once you have most of your harness off, you're gonna go ahead and remove your throttle cable, which is back here. It usually takes two 10mm little bolts. In this case, we only have one I see on there. And then you're gonna pull it off from right here, or you can just go ahead and pull off those two 12s and then just bring it out completely if you don't feel like struggling and popping it off from right here, since it's where the fuel oil holds it. So yeah, guys, this was pretty easy. Just remove that little 10, and then once you remove that little 10, you can you'll have play with it like so, and then you can go ahead and remove it from the actual throttle body itself, which is over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I am gonna go ahead and pull off the two 12s here, so I don't have to be worried about popping it out or whatever. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'll catch you guys in a bit. Alrighty, guys, so I have the throttle cable removed. Pretty much everything up here is done. So what we have left, if your car does have AC, you gotta make sure you remove the both lines that are connected to the AC compressor, and which that's located at the back of the motor. If you do have AC on your car and your system is charged, make sure you uncharge the Freon before you try to remove the lines. If not, when you unscrew that bolt and try to take off the lines, it's gonna probably scare you. But I can't really get in there, and I don't know if you guys can see, but all it is a two 12mm bolts. There's one right there, and then there's another one behind that one. So take off both those lines, and then you'll be good. In this case, this system was charged, so I went ahead already and I drained it, so everything's good. I can go ahead and remove those lines. Once I remove those lines, we can go ahead and remove the power steering pump, which is, you don't have to remove the whole pump. You can if you want to, but I probably won't. I'm just gonna remove this big nut and remove this line right here. Once you remove that line and that nut, you should be good. And then we'll move on from there, guys. So let me go ahead and remove these lines, and then those are the ones that we should be good. So once you have the AC lines off removed, I'm gonna go ahead and just pull off that line off the power steering and then break that nut loose, and then we should be good. And then we can go ahead and move on to the bottom with removing the transfer case and the axles, the exhaust, and this bad boy is ready to come out, guys. One very last thing, once you do all this stuff up here, go ahead and unplug your alternator, which is just that plug there, and then you're gonna have to remove that, usually a 10mm or 11 little nut that's on there. Also unplug this little thing from the power steering pump, and then go ahead and take that off, and then you should have let's see, your oil pressure switch, which is down here. In this case, this one is already unplugged, and then you have another one right here to the, oh, this one's the oil pressure switch, sorry. Oh, look at that, it wasn't even on there. It was on there with tape. We'll gotta fix that. Anyways, once you have that, you should be good. Alrighty, guys, so we're all done on that side. Everything over there is good and ready to go. Right here, the only things we have left is to pull off the feed for the fuel rail, which is two little 10s. Let me go ahead and zoom on those. Two little 10s, remove those, pull that off, and then you'll have some water lines that you have to remove here as well, which is just going to be two of them, I believe. It's this one right here, and then this one over here with the flathead, and then the rest comes with the mortar. So just go ahead and remove those water lines once you have those water lines, and then you guys should pretty much be good. I think we're good. Other than that, we can start on the axles, transfer case, and exhaust. We have your exhaust, so you're gonna go ahead and pull off your exhaust. Usually it's just two nuts holding the exhaust, 19s or 17s, just depends on whatever's on there. But once you pull off your exhaust, then you have room to mess with your transfer case. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the exhaust real quick. Hopefully it's not that much pain in the butt. And yeah, guys, let me get to it. I know it might be kind of hard to see down here, but now we're gonna go ahead and do the transfer case, which is right here. It's So to get to the transfer case, it's I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to say 5 bolts, 5 17mm bolts. It's kind of hard to see, but there's one right there, and then there's another one back there. This one, and we also have this one, and then one right here, but this one is missing. So yeah, guys, you remove those 5 bolts, and then your transfer case is ready to come down. I might have to just take the exhaust down from that little rubber right there, so it comes all the way down, if I have issues trying to get the transfer case off. But let's see how it goes. I'm gonna go ahead and break them loose and try to get them off. Okay, so once you have all the bolts off the transfer case, just be careful with it because it's a little heavy. So just pull away from the transmission to take the transfer case out. Then once you have it out, go ahead and pull it out of the drive shaft, and then you're Gucci. Alrighty, guys, for your axle, so to be able to remove your axle, you're gonna have to remove this big nut right here, which is a 32. I have it in this. I have it on that big impact gun, so it makes it just life a lot easier. So remove that nut. We're gonna remove this 17mm as well, and then the one that's down here that holds the control arm, and also I always remove the one for the brake lane so I don't pull on anything, and then we should be good. Alrighty, guys, so once you have all that stuff removed, you're gonna go ahead and pull off the axle from the half shaft. If you have a GST, you won't have this half shaft. You'll have your axle all the way into the transmission. But on GSXs do have this half shaft, so you'll have a really short axle and then you'll have a long axle. Alrighty, guys, so I use just a regular size flathead. I mean, it's a pretty big flathead, but as you can see, it's already separated. I usually use that big one, which is this one. But I didn't have any room, so just went ahead and used the regular pretty big size flathead. So that one's done. Just gonna go ahead, I gotta pull it out, and then we can do the next side. The next side, you're just gonna repeat the same. Alrighty, guys, so once you have all that done, you go ahead and pull out the axle from the spindle, and then you can go ahead and pull from where you pulled it out, where I pried it out with a flathead right now. So boom, simple as that. And then you can go ahead and pull off the axle. So there you go, there you have it. This side is gonna be the same process. I already pulled it off. The only difference is that you're gonna pry it out from the transmission. I said long axle, sorry. I meant that the GST is the one that has a long axle and a shorter axle. But same process that I did on the other side. It's just this side you're gonna pry it off from the transmission itself, and then once you do that, same thing, pull it off, take it out of the spindle, and then you're good to go. Alrighty, guys, so I have all the axles out and everything. Last thing before you go ahead and finish up down here, go ahead and pull off your slave cylinder. So it's just 12 millimeters on the other side right here. So you have one right there and right there. Look at my glove all ripped. Anyways, yeah, just those two, and then remove the slave, and then we'll be good. Some people remove it from complete, the whole line, to just release the whole line, but then you have to sit there and bleed afterwards or whatever. But yeah, guys, just take those two off and then you should be good. Alrighty, guys, so at this point I'm pretty much ready to pull it out. I already have the front motor mount bolt out, the rear bolt motor mount out. I just have to take the driver's side and the transmission side. So this one is going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt. Usually you have to take off this whole bracket out so you can be able to pull the motor out. If not, it's going to be hitting on the transmission. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we can move forward. These are off. These are all just 17mm nuts. There's one here, one there, one here, and then one in the back, and then a 17 millimeter bolt that holds the motor mount. And then on this side is also a 17 millimeter bolt that goes through there, and then two 17 nuts, and then a 14 millimeter bolt that goes through there, and then you're gonna remove the mounts, and then she's ready to come out. Alrighty, so as you can see, the engine is already coming out. Everything is good, and as you can see, I'm pulling that out at an angle, so this side is higher than this side. That's because I wanted it to come out at an angle to where this side of the motor comes out first, so that way the transmission won't hit or you struggle to pull it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep going, guys. Get this engine out, and I'll catch you guys in a bit. Alrighty, guys, well, there you have it. Motor is out. It was pretty simple, to be honest. This one, there's some that give you a hard time when they're coming out, but this one came out pretty easy. So yeah, guys, next thing to do is take it apart. Alrighty, guys, well, that is going to be the end of that video. So next, what we're going to be doing is let me know in the comments if you guys want to see step by step of taking this thing apart completely, like the head, the transmission, all that good stuff. So yeah, guys, let me know if you guys are interested in seeing me doing that. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, guys. I try to do the best as far as explaining step by step on how to doing it. I think I kind of got it, most of it covered. If I didn't, shoot down a comment down below and just ask me, and then I'll be more than happy to answer. But if you guys are not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that like button. If you guys do not follow me on Instagram, please go follow me at 4G63Addict. Also my other page where I do post most of the work that I do on these cars, which is Addict's Garage. So have a good one, guys, and I will catch you guys in the next one.